Welcome to Fit for Life, a podcast series devoted to helping you find the motivation, inspiration, and determination you need to achieve and exceed all of your fitness goals. Hi guys, I'm JT from MyFitMoto. I'm a nationally certified personal trainer with over 25 years of fitness experience. And I'm going to use all my years of experience and everything I've learned along my fitness journey to help you get fit for life. Hey guys, JT here, and in today's episode we're going to talk about good to great. How to take your workout from good to great. 3 relatively simple ways that you can do that. Okay, so the good news is you've been able to maintain a fairly consistent fitness routine for several months now. And congratulations, that's awesome. You've already accomplished something many people fail to achieve: sustain a training program. And since you're already ahead of the population, let's try to take your program to the next level with a few suggestions that can help make those good workouts great. But before I get into all that, I want to throw out a little disclaimer by saying even the most dedicated and ardent fitness enthusiasts have bad training days. So don't expect that every day you step into the gym is going to be a stellar experience. Trust me, I've been actively and consistently training for over 30 years, and I still have a few bad days here and there. It comes with the territory. There are so many factors and variables that impact training. So if you have a bad day, don't sweat it, because they will happen. But the goal here is to share my insight and years of experience to help make your good workouts even better. And once the great workouts start to outnumber the okay or good workouts, well, then you're well on your way to achieving even greater, more consistent results. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is flexibility. One of the best ways to improve an already good training program is to enter each training session with a flexible mindset. What I mean is, don't limit yourself when it comes to your training. I'm a big believer in going into every training session with a workout game plan. You should know the exercises you want to perform and the sequence in which you want to perform them. But you also have to be flexible enough to adjust your plan as needed. For example, if you have a leg day scheduled and your workout game plan calls for 4 sets of box squats to open your session, but all the squat racks are occupied, then what? Sure, you could wait for one of the racks to open up, which could take a while, delay your training, and negatively impact your training focus. Or you could adjust your session and start with seated leg presses instead. Now, this seems like a fairly simple and easy adjustment, and it is. However, it's the concept of flexibility that I want to emphasize here. The more consistently and seamlessly you make workout game plan adjustments, the better equipped you'll be to make more significant adjustments down the road. Like changing your training load, set, and rep counts. On days when you're feeling stronger, don't hesitate to adjust your training plan. Like adding some additional weight, changing the number of sets, increasing or decreasing your rep count accordingly. These type of adjustments can help push you beyond your perceived limitations and help you reach new milestones, maybe even new personal records. Hey, we all fall into the habit of seeking and maintaining our own level of comfort when it comes to training. We tend to gravitate to what we do well and shy away from what is more difficult or challenging for us. So it's important and essential to step out of that comfort zone occasionally. Don't be afraid to fail. Failing can be used to fuel your progress. And the more you step out of your training comfort zone, the easier it becomes to exceed your perceived physical and mental limitations of training. So keep an open mind and a flexible approach to your training. You might be surprised by what you can accomplish. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about that could potentially take your good workout to a great workout is the area of training where I see a lot of people fail because they simply lack the consistent level of focus needed to achieve sustainable results. It seems so simple. Enter your training session with purpose and focus, and you'll have a great training session, right? Well, what sounds easy apparently isn't for the majority of people. I see so many people on a daily basis that don't have the proper level of training focus and intensity when they start their training session. They come into their training unaware of how and where to start, and it just goes downhill from there. Subsequently, when training lacks continuity and focus, it eventually translates to poor, inconsistent results. And once that happens, the motivation to maintain training fades quickly, and it's goodbye program. So why does something so simple like focus seem so difficult for a lot of people? Well, first, there's a lot of potential distractions to contend with, right? We see cell phones very prevalent throughout people's workout sessions. People have them in their hands, they're texting, they're getting messages, or they're on the phone. So that's a huge distraction. Friends, right? If you have a friend with you and they're asking you questions or they're talking, that can be a huge distraction. And sometimes that hot babe or the dude in the working legs that day can be a distraction, right? So I get it. But in order to make a good workout even better, you have to go into each training session with a single-minded focus. Your training has to be the priority over everything else. If it's not, well, then you run the risk of putting time into something that may not be yielding you maximum results. Now, of course, not every training session is a waste of time. I'm not saying that, because any time spent training is an accomplishment. But remember, the goal here is to transition from good to great. So maintaining your training focus will go a long way to help you achieve max results. But focus just doesn't apply to your overall training. It applies to the details of your training too. How you execute each movement in your training regime will also impact the results you achieve. So don't take shortcuts. Execute each movement with proper technique because that creates good habits. It helps you avoid injury and improves focus on the task at hand. Channeling your energy and focus this way also helps create the mind-muscle connection you've heard so much about. Try to think of it this way. It's like preparing for a big game or event. Getting in the right frame of mind prior to training can help you focus on what you need to do to achieve success. Creating the right mindset? Well, that might be a little different for everybody. For some, it might be about streaming some good tunes on the way to your training session, or maybe visualizing your workout progression before you arrive at the gym. Whatever it is, it should be something that gets you psyched, pumped, and prepared to attack your training with a single-minded focus. For those that are able to do it consistently, well, the rewards in the form of results, they will soon follow. Okay, so the last thing I want to touch on that can really make a difference and turn your good workout into a great workout is fuel. Fueling your fitness. I've talked about it on many occasions. A simple theory that includes varying degrees of complexity. Now, most people know about or they understand the importance of properly fueling each training session. So whether you're on a ketose regime, using fat as your fuel source, or maybe a more conventional method like 2-to-1 carb to protein ratio prior to training, getting the right fuel into your system at the right time is essential to maximizing your training results. It's really that simple and that complicated. Now, depending on your specific fitness goals, the type, quantity, and timing of your nutrition could change drastically. So without going into too much detail here, suffice to say, regardless of your specific training goals, you must fuel properly. And if you want to know specifically what you should be doing, check out our other podcast on protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats. That was a separate podcast series, a 3-part podcast series we did a little while back. So check it out if you want more details on how to fuel properly prior to and, just as important, after your training. So that's a great series. It'll give you the specifics on the type of food and the timing of the food that you need to eat to maximize your training and your recovery. Because I can tell you, failing to fuel your training will leave you feeling empty in more ways than one. Because without the proper fuel, you'll essentially be using your existing muscle as a fuel source. Now that's not exactly ideal for building muscle size and strength. Not to mention, you'll feel like you know what during your workout. You're basically gonna crash and not get not even a good workout in. It'll be a subpar workout. So that goes against everything that we're talking about, which is why fueling prior to and even during your workout is so important. And just as important as fueling your training is feeding your recovery. Because one without the other, well, that's like answering only half of the questions on a test. When it's time to grade your effort, even if you got all the questions you answered right, you're still going to fail. So make sure you're doing what is needed to recover properly. If you're not, it's not only going to impact your training, it will negatively impact future training sessions as well. So it's important to fuel properly prior to and fuel your recovery after your training session, because that's going to make those other training sessions not only good, but great. The last thing I want to touch on is that if you're thinking of supplementing your nutrition with strength and/or muscle building products, make sure you understand the ingredients in the products you consume. Understand what, if any, are the long-term effects and/or benefits associated with some of the ingredients listed. See if there's a natural alternative. Understand that supplements and the supplement industry is one of the few industries that is not regulated by the FDA. So be smart and educate yourself about what you put in your body. Because as far as I know, we only get one. Now finally, make sure you hydrate properly prior to, during, and after your training, especially if you're heading into a moderate to intense training session. Dehydration is a surefire way to sap your energy, your strength, and end your session early. And it's such a simple fix. Do you know you can actually lose up to 10% of your strength due to dehydration? So be smart. Drink up prior to, during, and after your training session. Okay, so the bottom line here is this. When it comes to your nutrition, do a little research. Or you can listen to a podcast that I've mentioned that kind of breaks down all the nutritional benefits in the different categories that will impact you. Protein, healthy fats, and carbohydrates. But understand your specific nutritional requirements based on your specific training goals. Because once you get that all aligned, well, it's like watching a well-choreographed performance. Everything is in perfect sync, and the results are amazing. Well, there you have it. 3 relatively simple yet effective, challenging things you can do that will take your training session from good to great. Those of you that can consistently master the 3 things I've mentioned stand a much better chance of not only achieving but exceeding your training expectations. You know, I say this a lot in the articles I write and the conversations I have in and outside of the fitness community, and even in the podcasts that I do. There are no shortcuts to true fitness. Trust me, if there were, I would have started using them a long time ago. Like I said, I've been training pretty much my entire adult life, and I can tell you from experience, every day I get in the gym is a good day. And often it's the obvious, simple things I do consistently over time that turn my good training sessions into great sessions. And if you follow the tips and advice I've given here, you can do it too. I'm JT from MyFitMoto. That concludes this episode. If you have any questions, you can contact me at john myfitmoto@gmail.com, or through our website, myfitmoto.com, or via our Instagram or Facebook pages. Well, thanks again for listening. I hope my advice, experience, and knowledge help you achieve your fitness goals. Please check out our other podcasts and subscribe to our podcast channel. I hope my advice, experience, and knowledge helps you get fit for life.